All right, it's that time again. Happy Friday to everyone out there. Thank you so much for tuning into the live stream. We're back at it again, doing another NBA Prize Picks live stream for you guys today, where I use props.cash and we take a look at some of the NBA player props on the Prize Picks board. Got kind of a medium-sized slate tonight. I think there's a total of 7 games for us to take a look at. So I'm going to change the format up just a little bit, not much, not to freak you guys out. We're going to look at one over and one under from each single stat player prop. So obviously you've got points, rebounds, assists, and three-point makes. So we're going to kind of switch it up because whether you like to play them or not, the unders actually hit higher than the overs. Studies have shown. So we're going to take a look at that. Maybe there's some good underplays where guys just aren't covering their prop tonight, and that might be a good opportunity for us to put some money in there on the unders. So if this is your first time here, my name's CJ. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed, make sure that notifications are turned on, and leave a like on this video. We did not get to 100 likes yesterday. We got really close though. I think we finished somewhere around 90 likes. Let's see if we can run it back today and try to get up there to 90 to 100. Let's see if we could go over the 90 mark. All right, I'll set the line at 90. We'll try and go over. All righty. Already see some people filling into the chat. Thank you so much for joining. Like, subscribe. It all helps me grow. No, there's not a necro in the room. I promise you, it's just me. All right, let's take a look at this slate tonight, and we'll get things going here and start doing some research for you. I'm going to try and keep it at an hour. We've been running over an hour. Let's see if we can keep it under an hour, though. First game of the night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, the Orlando Magic, my favorite team, versus the Toronto Raptors. For the Orlando Magic, Michael Carter-Williams, Etuan Moore, Chuma Okeke, Jonathan Isaac, and Markelle Fultz are all ruled out. And then for the Toronto side, we've got Watanabe and Pascal Siakam both out. Moving on to the next game, 7:30, Indiana at Brooklyn. Caris LeVert is a game-time decision. That would be a big, impactful piece of injury news, so keep an eye out for Caris LeVert. We've got TJ Warren, Martin, Malcolm Brogdon. That's a huge one for Indiana. No Malcolm Brogdon. If Caris LeVert's also out, where's all that usage going to go? Something to keep in mind. Jackson also out for Indiana. On the Brooklyn side, we've got Claxton, game time decision, and of course, Kyrie Irving still out for the Brooklyn Nets. Moving things down a little further here, Charlotte Hornets at Miami Heat. For the Charlotte side, Terry Rozier and PJ Washington, both GTDs. For the Miami Heat, Victor Oladipo continues to sit out. Sacramento at New Orleans, 8 p.m. Garrett Temple, Josh Hart, Zion Williamson, all on the injury report. Zion, the only one officially ruled out. We got the Dallas Mavericks at the Denver Nuggets. Kristaps Porzingis, Trey Burke, Boban Marjanovic, and Brown all out for all game time decisions for the Dallas Mavericks. And then for the Nuggets side, some huge news. Nikola Jokic is actually on the injury report as a game time decision. So keep an eye out for that. Of course, those are opportunities where we can take advantage if we have a plan in place, like if Jokic is in or if Jokic is out. If we know already how we're going to preemptively move based on that news, there could be some opportunities for value there. Jamal Murray, also a game time decision. So I think he's starting to inch closer and closer to getting back into the lineup. And then Konkar is also out for Denver. And then finally, the Los Angeles Clippers at Portland. We've got Johnson, Leonard, Preston, Ibaka, and Morris on the injury report. For Portland, we've got Powell and Snell. Keep an eye out on that. Kawhi Leonard is a game time decision. Maybe he gets back in the lineup, which would be very impactful to a guy like Paul George, maybe even a Reggie Jackson. So be careful taking the overs. Pay attention to the news closer to lock. And then finally, Cleveland at LA. We've got Dwayne Wade. Yeah, right. We got Wade and Okoro. And then on the other side, actually, Dwayne Wade was a Cleveland Cavalier. Man, people must, forget that, I'm sure. And then on the Lakers side, Mason, Ellington, James, Rondo, all game time decisions. Ariza Nunn and Horton Tucker all out for LA. So that kind of gives you an idea of the scope of tonight's slate, 7-game slate. And some of the injury news, a lot of big ones out there, guys. You got to pay attention to the injury news. So with that out of the way, let's get into props.cash. Of course, if you've been tuning into these live streams daily, you know that props.cash is my favorite way to do prop research. They make everything real easy, real convenient, and they put it all in one place for you. $19.99 a month for a monthly pass for NBA. Or if you want to do a full NBA pass, you can do the entire season for $99.99, or you can mix NFL and NBA, get access to both for just $199.99. You can find all that in the link down in the description of this video. Props.cash. Let's do it. So we're going to look at the trends for not only an over, but we're also going to look at the under, as I mentioned at the top of the video here. So we've been talking just overs. Of course, that's the more fun way to play over on PrizePicks, but in this particular case, we're going to look at an over and an under because the unders do hit more often than you might think. So let's start things off here and look at an over that's been hitting at a 100% hit rate. And we're talking about Harrison Barnes. Now, he may not be up on the board yet. Oh, in this case, he is. Harrison Barnes is at 17.5 points. Now, despite him going over 17.5 points in 4 straight games, his point prop has yet to see a significant bump or any bump. He was 17.5 points in the last game. So, yeah, we're kind of wondering what's going on here with Harrison Barnes. Why is he not getting a bump to his points line? But anyway, as long as he's 17.5, we're going to keep on taking it. So let's dig into Harrison Barnes. Of course, I've got his game logs pulled up here on the right over on PrizePicks. So you can kind of see how often he's been going over. But we don't just stop there. We dig a little bit deeper, show you a little bit more of what props.cash can do for you in terms of your research. So we're looking at a 5-game view here for Harrison Barnes, and we're looking at his point prop. And you can see that just like it shows on the right-hand side on PrizePicks, Barnes, 36 points against Portland, 25, 24, and 22. So not only has he been going over 17.5, but he's been going over by quite a bit, like, you know, a pretty high ceiling on this 17.5 point prop. So we know things are looking good here for Harrison Barnes. He's currently a -112 to go over. So that's also good news here for Harrison Barnes. The money's coming in on the over on this point prop. So if we scroll down here, we can take a look at the matchup against the New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans right now, not very good defensively. They rank 23rd overall, so we're not worried about this matchup whatsoever for Harrison Barnes. This is an easy one, a soft one, so to speak. They rank 21st in the entire NBA against opposing small forwards, so they're not slowing the small forwards down much at all. Let's take a look at how well he's been playing a little bit further here under a closer scope. 37 minutes, 36 minutes, 38 minutes. Gotta love that consistent set of minutes here for Harrison Barnes. And if we scroll down a little bit further, his field goal attempts also kind of correlate with the amount of minutes. 19, 20, 13, and 18. So getting plenty of shot attempts, which leads to him going over. He's shooting a pretty good percentage too, over 50% for the season. And then we look at his 3 points, 11 attempts, 6 attempts, 10 attempts, 6 attempts. So he's got the green light, guys, to fire away at will. So you got to love what you're seeing for Harrison Barnes. Now let's take a look at a projection. We are on the wrong sport. Let's pull up some NBA here. Boom. All right, we'll dial it in to points, and we could do a quick little Control F. Control F is going to be your best friend if you're looking for things quickly online on any website. He's at 17.6 projected points tonight, which puts him slightly over 17.5 and makes it really, really close to 18. So yeah, I think based on the trends, we keep riding the hot hand with Harrison Barnes and take the over here. I don't see why not. The matchup's good. The hit rate is 100% and the projections seem to agree. So all signs pointing north for this Harrison Barnes point prop. All right, so I told you we would talk one prop that looks like a strong over, and then we'll talk one prop that looks like a strong under. So we've got a couple of them that we could look at, but let's talk about Reggie Jackson, because we mentioned at the top of this video that Kawhi Leonard is a game time decision. If Kawhi Leonard were to play and we were able to react fast enough to that news that Kawhi Leonard's going to be in the lineup, Reggie Jackson at 17.5 points, I might be leaning toward the under on that. Now, he's at 18.5 according to props.cash, but what we're going to do is we're going to go to this player prop for Reggie Jackson. And what's nice about props.cash is that you can actually take this little slider here, change it from 17.5 or 18.5 and move it down to 17.5. So you can see in his last 5 games, even at 17.5, he's only covered one time out of his last 4 games. That's just a 25% hit rate. So he's barely going over. In the one game that he did go over, he scores 18. So if Kawhi Leonard is in tonight, guys, why wouldn't we want to click the under on Reggie Jackson? His usage is going to go down the drain with a guy like Kawhi Leonard active in the lineup. So that kind of gives you an idea. Right now, you're not seeing any line movement on this 18.5 point prop for Reggie Jackson. -110 over, -110 under. Moving down the line here in terms of the matchup against Portland, not a great matchup, but not a particularly tough matchup either. Overall, their defensive rating is pretty bad, 29th in the NBA. There's only one team that's worse than them, so that's pretty nice if you're looking to take maybe an over on Reggie Jackson. In terms of field goal allowed, they rank 18th, 19th in three-pointers allowed, and then in point guard defense, 20th overall. Now, he has been getting a lot of minutes and shots up, but, you know, like I said, if Kawhi Leonard is in, then this has to be an auto under for me. Just to cap things off, though, let's finish it up with a projection for Reggie Jackson's point prop. They've got him at 16.7 points over on number fire. So there you go. They've already decided that the under might be the best way to go on Reggie Jackson here. So just something to think about. We've given you an over and we've given you an under for the points prop. So let's move on to the next category, which will be rebounds. I appreciate everybody who is filing into the chat. Thank you so much. If you haven't already liked this video, please do so now. And if you're not subscribed, of course, we want you to subscribe to the channel. We want you to tap into all of the best research for your NBA player prop needs. And I'll be doing an NFL player prop video for you later on in the week, most likely either tomorrow or Sunday before kickoff. So if you're into NFL, you'll definitely want to subscribe, make sure notifications are on, and then we'll catch you in that live stream. All right, so we talked a couple of points props. Let's shift it over to the rebound category. And the first guy that stands out is Brandon Ingram at 5.5 rebounds. This is another guy that, for whatever reason, he has been crushing his rebound prop. They have not moved his lineup on most sports books. Now, PrizePicks has wisened up here. They've actually got him at 6 boards. But even at 6 boards, guys, he has yet to go under 6 rebounds in any game so far this season. So what would that tell you? That would tell me that I should be leaning toward the over. Even though they rounded this up from 5.5 to 6 like PrizePicks likes to do, I would still be leaning toward the over. So worst case scenario, it pushes. Best case scenario, he goes over again and ends up with 8 or 9 rebounds. So let's dig into Brandon Ingram real quick and look at his rebound prop over on props.cash. They're taking on the Sacramento Kings, and the New Orleans Pelicans are at home tonight against Sacramento. So we'll click Brandon Ingram, click the rebound category here on props.cash. Let's scroll back up to the top. Of course, we have to adjust his line for PrizePicks purposes. If you don't play on PrizePicks, you're probably going to get him at 5.5 boards out there. And if you get him at 5.5 boards, I'd probably suggest taking the over at 5.5. Even at 6, like I said, I would lean toward the over. But we do have 5 good game logs here from this season. So that's the beautiful thing, is that as more games are played, these game logs are logged into props.cash, which helps us to get more accurate information. We no longer have to rely on last season's data. We can use this season's data. Right now, you can see at -144 for the over at 5.5 boards. You got to love that. In his last 5 games, averaging 7.6 rebounds per game. 7, 8, 6, 9, and 8. So that's his last 5 games, guys. 6 or more rebounds in every single game this year. Gotta love what you're seeing there. Now, against Sacramento, not so great last year, 3, 5, and 6, but totally different dynamic this season. Totally different cast of characters for this New Orleans Pelicans team. Of course, the big one, Zion Williamson, not in the lineup. So more rebounds are funneling to Brandon Ingram. Steven Adams, another big name who's not in there anymore. So let's move it down here. Take a look at the Sacramento defense. Overall, their defensive rating absolutely stinks. They're dead last in the NBA. They rank 20th in total rebounds allowed to the opposing team, so you got to love that. It's pretty soft. Offensive rebounds, 28th. Defensive rebounds, 19th. So got to love what you're seeing so far for Brandon Ingram. I'm leaning toward the over once again. He has yet to go under 6 rebounds. Can it last forever? Probably not. He probably won't stay at 100% hit rate forever. Eventually, he will burn us, but in this case, I don't know that this is the game where it happens. They've got him projected at 5 rebounds on Number Fire. Number Fire, typically, if you've been keeping up with these live streams, they tend to take a more conservative approach when it comes to these single stat player props. So it's no surprise that they like the under. They've always liked the under, but projections are projections. They are not facts. They're just a potential possible outcome of what could happen. So I'm leaning toward the over on Brandon Ingram. Forget the projections. It just looks too good for me to pass up. Now, over here, we've got the lowest hit rates for rebounds. We got Gordon Hayward up here, Franz Wagner for the Orlando Magic, Damian Lillard. But the one that stands out is probably Gordon Hayward. Let's see if they've got him up on PrizePicks. They do. And they've already done us a disservice, we'll call it, by rounding him down from 5.5 down to a more difficult decision at 5 rebounds. So let's dig into it a little bit deeper here. We'll look at Gordon Hayward. Appreciate everybody who's jumping into the chat. What's up to everybody who's just entering the stream? We're up to 50 viewers. Thank you so much. Like this video if you haven't yet. We're trying to reach 100 likes like we did a couple days ago. So if there's 50 of you in here and we leave a like for every single person in here, we're already halfway to the goal. And then by the time this goes up on YouTube and everybody else watches it, I'm sure that they will push us over the hump. Let's see if we can get it done, guys. Appreciate your support. So we're going to look at Gordon Hayward here and look at his rebound prop. And we'll do that by switching things over from Charlotte, from the current game to Charlotte to Miami. We're at total rebounds, and then we can scroll and find Gordon Hayward. Now, of course, as I mentioned, he has been rounded down, so they took off that friendly little hook and moved it down to 5. So this could be a situation where we end up in a push, right? So we're going to have to do the same thing on props.cash by using their alternate line tool. So we move that down just a notch and drop him down to a solid 5 rebounds. Now, in his last 5 games, he has only covered this prop, meaning gone over 5 rebounds one game, one time, and that was against the Boston Celtics, finishing with just 6 rebounds. He does have 2 games where he pushed, though, back on the first game of the season against Indiana, and also in his most recent game against Orlando, he ended with 5 rebounds. But good thing for us, if we are leaning toward the under here, he has 2 games in his game log where he finished with just 1 and 3 rebounds, respectively. Now, currently, a minus 148 to go under 5.5 boards. Of course, we don't have a line out there for 5 boards, but I would imagine that he's going to be somewhere between that 4.5 and 5.5 rebound mark. So this very well could end up as a push. Let's scroll down a little bit, look at the Miami defense in terms of how they rank in the rebound category, 10th overall. So they're very stingy. They're a top 10 most stingiest defense when it comes to allowing the other team to rebound the basketball. Keep your hands off of that Miami Heat basketball. Offensive rebounds, 8th, and defensive rebounds allowed 11th. So a pretty strong rebounding team. Maybe they keep the basketball away from Gordon Hayward tonight. Very well could happen. Let's cap it off. We'll look at a rebound prop for Gordon Hayward and see where exactly he lines up. And they've got him at 5.5 boards. So that could go either way, right? There's no such thing as a half rebound. It could go under, it could go over. So this could be one that is best avoided, but I wanted to point it out because he's got a very low hit rate. So definitely one worth considering. So we've talked some rebound props, an over and an under. Let's do assist, then we'll move to the 3-pointers, and then I'll start taking some questions from chat. And you guys have dropped some absolute gems. I mentioned it out on Twitter. I don't know if you guys saw, but I hit a couple of 3-pick plays last night, and one of my 3-pick plays that hit had Jakob Poeltl over his point prop. So whoever mentioned that in chat yesterday, big thank you. I thanked you out on Twitter, but I'm thanking you now live on stream. Appreciate you for dropping that Jakob Poeltl prop for his points. His rebounds also hit yesterday. He had a huge double-double game, well, for his standards anyway. So he absolutely dominated the Dallas Mavericks. It was a soft matchup. We already saw it coming. So thank you for whoever dropped that play. You guys dropped some really nice plays in this live stream chat. And you're helping me out, and you're helping a whole lot of people who watch these videos out. So keep doing what you're doing. All right, so we're looking at assists now, and Jonas Valanciunas is up here. I don't know that I want to go to Jonas Valanciunas. I don't want to look at a center and his assist prop necessarily. So I'm probably not going to go to Jonas Valanciunas, but maybe we could look at Damian Lillard if he's up on the board. He is at 7.5 assists over on PrizePicks. He's also at 7.5 on Props.Cash with a 75% hit rate. So 75% of the time he has covered this player prop. So that's very good. The Clippers at Portland. This will be a very popular game, a must-see TV type of game. So let's go ahead and talk some Dame Dollar real quick. Normally when we're talking about Damian Lillard, we're talking about his like scoring prowess and stuff, but apparently he's been dishing out the basketball quite a bit this season. So you can see in his first 4 games to kick things off this season, 3 out of 4. He's hitting 3 out of 4, finishing with 11, 8, and 10 assists in those respective games. Now, he has played the Clippers once already this season. Worth noting, just 3 assists in that game. He went under 7.5 by quite a bit. Maybe he was being more aggressive, taking on more of a scoring role, but whatever the case may be, didn't do a good job at all of covering his player prop. Now, versus the Clippers last year, and with this one game log that we have from this year, you can see that he is 0 for 3 in covering his assist prop against the Clippers. So even though he's got a high hit rate against the Clippers specifically, he's got a low hit rate. He's 0 for his last 3 games against LA in terms of covering this assist prop. So this could be dangerous. Right now he's a -112 to go over 7.5. So the money's coming in on the over. But let's go down and look at the LA Clippers defense. In terms of assists allowed, they are the 3rd most stingiest against assists allowed in the entire NBA. So that is a very concerning number, especially when you combine it with the fact that he doesn't cover his assist prop very good against the Clippers, and they seem to be limiting how many assists are dished out against them. So a little bit worrisome here for Damian Lillard. But we'll finish things off as we do by providing you with a projection. Free projections provided by numberfire.com. I don't get paid to talk about them. I just like them because they're free. Who doesn't like free stuff? 7.3 assists is his projection tonight. So they are also leaning toward the under on Damian Lillard's assists. So if you want to be a little bit different, if you want to buck the trends and go under on Damian Lillard's assist, I can't blame you. It's looking like a pretty solid way to go. So we talked about Damian Lillard, somebody with a high hit rate for his assists. Let's talk about a guy who doesn't have a high hit rate. Let's browse the board here. Bam Adebayo at 4 assists. Well, this is interesting. Let's open up his little player card here on PrizePicks. So they've got him at 3.5 on Props.Cash. Now at 3.5 assists, he has covered this exactly 0 times. But we're getting him at 4 assists, right? So if he can't cover 3.5, what's to make us think that he can cover 4, right? So let's go ahead and look at Bam Adebayo real quick. A lot of people have been taking Bam's overs on his points, on his rebounds, but we don't really talk about his assists a whole lot. So this will be an interesting case study here. So as I mentioned, at 3.5 assists, he has covered 0 times out of 4 games. 1, 3, 2, and none against the Brooklyn Nets, surprisingly. But if we bump it up to 4, things get even crazier. So going back to that last game of last season, he had 4 against Milwaukee, goes under in 4 straight games. So he has not been covering 4 assists. If we could look at last season, 3 games against the Charlotte Hornets, he went under in 2 of those games. 2 and 2. That would be great if we're taking the under on the 4 tonight. But then he comes out of nowhere and puts on his best Magic Johnson impersonation, finishing with 10 dimes. Big guy dishing the rock out. So overall, guys, low hit rate at 4 assists. Let's go ahead and scroll down here and take a look at Charlotte and how things stack up for Bam Adebayo. The good news, if you are looking to take the over on Bam's assist prop, they are dead last, are the Charlotte Hornets, at stopping the opposing team from dishing out assists. They rank 30th. They're giving up the most assists to opposing teams. So maybe Bam Adebayo goes over his assist prop, but you don't typically think of him as the setup guy for the Miami Heat. In fact, I think that's more of Kyle Lowry's role right now since joining the team. Lowry's scoring's way down, but he seems to be more of that pass-first role now, more of a facilitator, where with Toronto, he was kind of their one of their primary scoring options. So, yeah, I don't know what to feel about this particular prop, or what to think, I should say. Let's go ahead and look for a projection here for Bam Adebayo. They've got him at 4.7 assists tonight, suggesting that he'll be somewhere between 4 and 5 assists. So, I don't know. This one looks kind of tricky to me, guys. I would lean toward the under just based on the facts, based on the stats that we have. But, yeah, you know, I guess it could go the other way based on the fact that Charlotte's given up so many darn assists. So, appreciate you guys joining the chat. We're over 60 viewers. Thank you. If you are watching and you haven't liked this yet, I mentioned we were trying to hit a lofty goal, which is 100 likes on today's stream. We did it a couple days ago. Came a little bit short earlier in the second video, yesterday's video, I should say. So let's see if we could regain glory and go back up to 100 likes. That's a big goal. All right, we're going to finish things off. Look at a couple 3-point props. We're going to give you an over on a 3-point prop and under on a 3-point prop based on the trends that you're seeing on props.cash. So let's get into it real quick. CJ McCollum, a dude who has been absolutely scorching his 3-point prop at 3.5 threes, currently sitting at just 3 3-pointers right now. So this is looking like a potential value situation for us. So let's go ahead and look at it. Back to the LA Clipper Portland game we go. Talked about a couple of props already from this game. I think it's going to be a prime time type of game. So CJ McCollum, we go to his 3-point category. You can see to start things off here, we'll look at his last 5 games. 6 threes made against Sacramento, 6 against Phoenix. Things have dipped a little bit, but still covering the 3-point player prop. A lot of threes there. 4 against LA and 4 against Memphis. So a 100% cover rate when you're looking at 3-pointers made. And if we shift this line from 3.5 down to 3, a little bit changes there. It goes green for his last 10. So he's doing a great job in terms of hitting this player prop. Now, if we go back to matchups last season against the Clippers and take into account the one game that he's already played LA this season, you could see overall 7, 2, 3, and 4. So 2 games where he actually went over 3, and then 3 games where he went for at least 3 or more. So 75% hit rate technically in his 4 previous matchups against the Clippers. So I think this is one where he can absolutely get it done here. Now, going down, the Clippers do have a pretty formidable defense. 7th overall. They rank 6th overall in 3-pointers allowed. And then the good news for CJ McCollum is that they rank just 21st in shooting guard defense. So kind of make of that what you will. Let's take a look at how many threes he's been attempting in his first 4 games. 11 attempts, 11 attempts, 11 attempts, and 9 attempts. Guys, I got to keep riding it, man. He's just been hitting it. He's getting the volume. Plenty of shots are going up for CJ McCollum. He attempted 11 in his last game against the Clippers, converting on 4. That's all we need him to hit, really, is 4 to go over, 3 to push. This is just one of them situations where I'm going to, click the over and hope for the best. I don't have a projection, unfortunately, for how many threes he's projected to make tonight. Number Fire does not offer that. That is one downfall about Number Fire. But I think you guys can kind of see that this is a good way to go. Lean toward the over. Hope he does go over, but at worst, you end up with a push. So let's go ahead and look at one 3-point prop that's been trending under, a guy who has not been covering his 3-point prop. We've already mentioned Reggie Jackson once. Let's see if we could find somebody different who's standing out here. Damian Lillard at 4.5 threes. He's only at 3.5 threes right now on PrizePicks, so a little different there. Who else? Fred VanVleet, 2.5 threes. Let's talk about Kyle Lowry. They actually do have Kyle Lowry up. Now, I took Kyle Lowry's points under the other day. I think he was at 14.5 points, and he didn't even come close. Now, guys, this is looking very good to me. This is a 0% hit rate so far on Kyle Lowry at 2.5 3-point makes. And you can kind of see why based on his game logs on PrizePicks. 1, 1, 1, 0, 4. That was a preseason game. So let's dig into it a little bit deeper for Kyle Lowry here. We've already got Charlotte, Miami pulled up. So we'll click Kyle Lowry. Make sure we are looking at the right statistical category with 3-point makes. Go back up to the top here. And at 2.5 3-point makes, 3 regular season games so far. Just 1 make, 1 make, and 1 make. So he's averaging 1 3-point make per game so far in the regular season. This is looking very good to me. Yeah, there's a lot of green on the screen, but this is all from last season. This is all when he was a member of the Toronto Raptors, which he is not anymore. And I'm really surprised that we're not seeing any action on the over or under just yet on this prop line of 2.5 3-point makes. Kind of surprising, to be honest with you. This is a 0% hit rate situation. So far, I'm going under on 2.5 3-point makes. The Charlotte defense, kind of middle of the pack so far this season. They ranked 17th overall in the NBA. In terms of 3-pointers allowed, 28th. So that is a thing that is working in Kyle Lowry's favor if you're looking to take the over. I don't know why you would. I would either take the under probably or just fade it all together if you feel some type of way about it. Point guard defense has been good for Charlotte, though. They ranked 9th overall in the NBA. Now let's move it down, look at his minutes, because they're all over the place. Under 25 minutes in this one, 31 and 34. So they're starting to kind of trend upward, starting to get more playing time. Maybe he wasn't in shape to start the season. He's kind of a, thick boy, kind of a chunky little dude, but let's look at his 3-point attempts and makes. He's been shooting the ball terribly, guys. 6 attempts, makes just 1. 6 attempts, makes just 1. 5 attempts, makes just 1. 17%, 17%, and finally 20%. So this is not looking good for Kyle Lowry. He's not shooting the basketball very well. He has not gone anywhere close to 3-point makes. The only red flag for me is the fact that the Charlotte Hornets do a pretty good job at allowing 3-pointers to the opposing team. So there you have it. There's a few of the trends that I identified over on props.cash. You can do the same thing by going to props.cash and signing up. If you want an affiliate link, you can use the link down in the description of this video, and you can dig even deeper on your favorite player props. So now that I'm done, let's turn it over to the chat and see what you guys are dropping. Got to scroll back up here a little bit and see what you guys are talking about in here. How did everybody do last night, by the way? If you won some money last night on PrizePicks, let me know. Let me know what hit for you, what didn't hit for you. I always like to read those success stories. Eric Johnson says, will you tell us who your favorite PrizePicks plays are? Well, I'm a very numbers-driven, numbers-oriented type of player prop guy. So I'm going to play what the numbers indicate I should be playing. So the ones that we've talked about, a lot of them stand out to me because they have either like low hit rates, they're not projected to go over or not projected to go under. So I think the ones we just talked about are some solid foundational plays to get you going. And that's, the point of this video. So if you're just jumping in the chat, Eric, rewind the video. I think we've hit on some ones that are looking real good. OG Anunoby. This is one that caught my eye. Very, very good mention here, Hamza. OG Anunoby plays the Orlando Magic tonight, and although they are my home team, they're not very good. So OG Anunoby going over his points prop, I think makes a lot of sense. And we'll dig in because I already looked at this one before the live stream, and we'll show you why. I think he should be up a little bit higher than 18.5 points. So let's get everything dialed in here on props.cash, and you could go ahead and start looking at this particular player prop. 18.5 points for OG Anunoby. Now, the first 2 games of the season were a bit rocky. It was a tough start for OG Anunoby, but let's say he's found his stride in the last 3 games, going for 23, 22, and 25 points. 3 straight games where he's gone well over 18.5 points, kind of like Harrison Barnes. That's another one. If you're asking for good plays, we talked about Harrison Barnes going over his points prop. He's been doing really well doing that. Against Orlando last year, no previous games to look at. Right now, not seeing any line movement at 18.5 points. But if we scroll down here, you'll see why this is such a juicy matchup. If you tuned into the stream the other day, we talked about Miles Bridges of the Charlotte Hornets and why we liked him over his points prop. This is giving me some flashbacks to that play. OG Anunoby, kind of a similar athletic wing type guy going against the Orlando Magic. I think this is going to be one of those situations where we're going to be clicking over on OG Anunoby's points tonight. Magic ranking just 26th overall in total defense, 20th in points allowed, 22 in field goals allowed, 3-point allowed. They allow 20, the 25th most 3-pointers allowed, and they're dead last against defending opposing small forwards. What else do you need to see? Well, let's look at minutes. 34, 34, we'll call it, 32, 38, 34, getting plenty of run. And if we look at his field goal attempts, 17 shots up, 18, 15, 17, 20, 21. So he's averaging a fair amount of shots, somewhere close to 20 shots per game. 3 points, 9, 5, 9, 8, 10. So he's taking a ton of shots. And he's getting to the free throw line pretty decently. 4 attempts, 6 attempts, 2 and 4. You'd like to see him attack the basket a little bit more, stop settling for so many outside shots. But yeah, I think OG Anunoby is a solid play. I don't think I need to beat this to death here. But let's give you a projection on his points. He is projected for 18 points, which puts him right in the neighborhood of, 18 to 19 points. I'm not really paying too much attention to the projection, but just as a reference point, you could kind of see where the projections are. But yes, OG Anunoby over 18.5 points. I think we have to go back to it. J-Red says, yo, J-Red, what's happening? J-Red, a member of the Patreon community. If you want to join Patreon, support what I do here on YouTube. Plus, I give back to you. Last night, I dropped like 3 cheat sheets for NFL, 2 for NBA with help from Britt, one of our community members. She puts in a lot of great work for us and helps provide some additional content over on Patreon. So if you want more from me than I can give you in a YouTube stream, well, definitely think about going over to Patreon. We got over 100 members that are part of our private Discord Patreon community. So we're in there talking all kind of different sports. So what's up to you, J-Red? Antoine, what's happening, man? Welcome back to the stream. Thanks for joining. We're almost at 70 viewers. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't liked the video yet, please do. I think we're dropping some gems, some pure heat so far this morning. So hopefully it's helping you out. And if you're not subscribed or liking this video yet, make it happen for me. I appreciate you guys. D Holmes says, I was so trash with my picks last night. Well, there's going to be nights like that, man. It's just going to happen. It's just going to happen that way. Moises says, start at Lowry points under and Holmes rebounds over. So we've talked about Kyle Lowry in terms of liking the under on his 3-point props. I mentioned that I took the under at 14.5 points on Lowry the other night. So yes, I think Kyle Lowry under points is a good way to go. So we'll skip over that one. We will talk Holmes rebounds because I did take a Richaun Holmes over rebound prop recently. I think he was somewhere around 7.5, maybe it was 8.5 rebounds. And he's been crushing. So yes, let's talk about that one. I think you found a good one here, Moises, for us to make a case for Mr. Richaun Holmes. So let's go ahead and take a look. We're going to go total rebounds. We're going to switch things up and go to Sacramento versus New Orleans. Click Richaun Holmes. Make sure we're dialed in for the right prop here. And so far through 4 games, the dude's been smashing 8.5 rebounds, 11, 10, 11, and 12. So he's not just getting like 9 rebounds and barely going over. He's getting a couple of rebounds over where he's projected today on PrizePicks. So you got to love what you're seeing so far out of Richaun Holmes. Now versus New Orleans last year, whole different year this year, obviously 7, 10, and 4. So kind of a mixed bag, only covered 1 time based on today's prop line, but we're not too worried about last year. You can see the money starting to come in on the over at 8.5 rebounds, minus 122 so far to go over. Plus 100 if you want to take the under. I wouldn't take the under in this case. Now against the New Orleans Pelicans, defensively they suck, but we're more worried about the rebounds allowed. They are kind of stingy against rebounds. 3rd fewest rebounds allowed to opposing players and teams. 3rd in offensive rebounds and 6th in defensive rebounds. And in terms of center-related defense, 10th against opposing centers. But the trends are looking very good here for Richaun Holmes. Now, typically, if I'm taking overs on any props, whether they be fantasy points, whether they be single stat player props, I want to target games that have high totals. I want high totals, and if I'm taking a superstar, I want games that are going to be close in terms of the spread. I don't want to take overs on superstars if the game's going to be a blowout and it's like a minus 10.5 point spread, right? So something to kind of keep in mind. Richaun Holmes, not a superstar. I think he would play a healthy amount of minutes, and I don't expect this particular matchup to be a blowout, but definitely look into it a little further. But if you want a projection on his rebound prop, 8.8, putting him very close to 9, which puts him over. Of course, we would need at least 9 rebounds out of Richaun Holmes, and his 100% hit rate on this rebound prop. Good call out, Moises. Appreciate you dropping that gem in chat. Thank you so much. Says, yeah, we need some unders. Yes, I thought about it yesterday. I was like, man, I've been doing these streams and all I talk about is overs. What am I doing here? I just totally overlooked the unders, and the unders have been hitting. So yes, we're going to try and incorporate some unders. D Holmes says, thanks, Moises. I will check it out. Definitely check out Moises' play. He's been on some very good ones here in the stream lately. Ingram boards look solid. Yeah, I think we covered Ingram boards. He's been hitting at great regularity. Fortunately for us, PrizePicks knows that, and they moved him up to 6. But even at 6, I would still feel pretty good at taking the over. So, yeah, thank you for shouting that one out. Kawhi isn't close to playing. So he's a game-time decision. For whatever reason, he was marked as a game-time decision on number fires. So if he's not close to playing, then that's a good bit of info. I don't know why they had him marked as a game-time decision. Dre to Kiss says, what's up, CJ? What's up, Dre? How you doing, brother? Moving on down the chat here, trying to get to all of your questions. Kyle Lowry under rebounds. Ooh, well, we talked about a couple of Kyle Lowry props. We can just take a quick glimpse at Kyle Lowry and rebounds. But yeah, I mean, typically I'm not taking any rebounds for guards most of the time. So he's at 4.5 boards, has only covered this prop one time, and it was in his last game against Brooklyn. So yeah, Kyle Lowry under rebounds could be a way to go, but I think the better way to go is probably going with under on his points, under on his 3-point makes. Those look like much better plays, as he has a 0% hit rate so far on both of those props. 4.9 rebounds, though, is where he's projected at today. What else we got? What else do we got? I take the under on Gordon Hayward boards. Yeah, we talked a little bit about Gordon Hayward and his low hit rate on those rebounds. So that's a good point. Go over on Gordon's points at 18.5. Trevor, thank you for dropping that one. Gordon Hayward, I'm guessing you're talking about at 18.5 points. Go over on it. Let's look at it. I think you're talking about Gordon Hayward, but he's at 16.5 points. You'll have to clarify that one for me. I'm not sure which Gordon you're talking about. I think it's Gordon Hayward, but he's at 16.5, so I'm a little thrown off by that 18.5 number. Maybe he's 18.5 on a different site or something. Killian Hayes hit a 3-pointer last night and took the under at 0.5 3-point make. Sorry about that, Dre, man. It's bad beat for sure. Killian Hayes, not typically a 3-point shooter. Bam, going for a double-double, so said. Taylor, hey, yo, go Rays. Good work, CJ. Straight cash. Beal killed a 4-player parlay, took the under at 26.5, and he scored 27. Ouch. Did you take that before or after the Spencer Dinwiddie being ruled out news? Because I saw Bradley Beal's point line kind of move up and down. Says, I like the under on Dame assists. Yeah, that one's looking good. He tends to shoot more against LA. Yep. Bam Adebayo gets buckets and boards for sure. Hit that like button ASAP. Yes, I like that. That's words of wisdom from Sed. Appreciate that, Sed. Clutch B-Ball TV. Not sure what he said. FG he. Ooh, I don't know. Says I'm bad luck on 3-point props. Yeah, 3-point props are kind of crazy, man. They're hit or miss. I have a feeling that you're going to have a likelihood of hitting more if you're taking under on a lot of these 3-point props. I don't know that for sure, but that's just my gut reaction. Melvin says Damian Lillard under 27.5 points. Yeah, let's look at Damian Lillard because he's been a guy who historically has been a great scorer, but this season, I mean, look at the game logs. He has not been a great scorer. Let's look at Dame Dollar and see what's happening with him and why he has struggled so far this season. Is it due to a lack of shots, lack of minutes? What's not going right for Damian Lillard? Maybe he's getting the shots and they're just not falling. That's something we got to dig into a little bit deeper. Props.cash will help with that research. So in his first 4 games to start the season at 27.5 points, Lillard under against Sacramento. That should be a soft matchup, one where he just destroys, right? Phoenix, little tougher, 19. Clippers, just 12 points against the Clippers in their previous meeting. That was just a couple nights ago, guys. He's facing the Clippers again tonight, in case you didn't know. And then against Memphis, 20. So he's gone well under 27.5 points in 4 straight games. Let's get a glimpse at how he did against the Clippers last season. 2 previous games against the Clippers, plus this one game that he's played against the Clippers this season. Guys, he's went under against the Los Angeles Clippers in 3 straight games, averaging a miserable 14.3 points per game, guys. It's not looking good for Damian Lillard tonight. Let's scroll on down here. Let's look at the Clippers defensive rankings. Overall, 7th. Points allowed, they rank 4th. Field goals allowed, 9th. 3-pointers allowed, 6th. The only thing that looks like a green light and a ray of hope for Damian Lillard, if you're looking to take the over on his points prop, is the fact that they rank 27th in point guard defense. Otherwise, this is a bloodbath here in terms of these LA Clipper defensive rankings. It means you should probably be thinking about going under on Damian Lillard. Now, I said we're going to look into it a little closer. 40 minutes to start the season against Sacramento. And then his minutes kind of like fall way off. 24.5, 27.8, 32.2. So there's definitely correlation here. Whenever he's not out on the court, he can't shoot the basketball and make shots. Let's see how his field goal percentages have looked. Well, they're pretty bad too. And, he attempted 24 shots, 11, 15, and 22. But the field goal percentages are not good. 33%, 27%, 27%. So 3 out of his 4 games so far, he has been well under 50% field goal percentage. That's not good. That's not going to get the job done. And then his 3-point field goal percentage is just totally off. 0 for 9, 0 for 8. Then he's got a 2 for 7 in there and a 4 for 11. So things have been ugly so far for Damian Lillard. I think you've got a solid play here in going under based on all of the things that we're seeing here on Damian Lillard. Let's give you a projection. And he is projected for 26 points, which definitely puts him under 27.5 by 1.5 points. Love that play. Good call out there from Mel Chapo. How do you feel about Mo Bamba over on points? I took a look at it. As a Magic fan, I was just kind of curious. The 13.5 kind of didn't stand out to me. You could look real quick here. He went over in his last game, but it's been kind of a mixed bag. 18, 15, 10, 11, 14. I think lately the guards for the Orlando Magic have been stepping up. Guys like Cole Anthony. If you haven't paid attention to Cole Anthony, he's been going crazy lately. He's having a little bit of a breakout in his second year. But things have kind of shifted from the big guys, Wendell Carter Jr., Mo Bamba, to more guard-oriented play for Orlando. So I don't think I love that one. I think there's a lot better plays. You don't have to force it. You know what I'm saying? There's definitely better ways you could go, like Damian Lillard under 27.5 points. Kyle Lowry hurt his ankle. That's why he's had low minutes. Good point, Moises. Good to know. So, I'm not feeling anything Kyle Lowry over if he's dealing with some sort of nagging ankle injury. Rashawn Holmes over 8.5 boards. Yep, we talked about that one. That one's looking good. Dorian Finney-Smith over on boards, and Kemba under on threes with straight money, says Hayden. Yes, I took Dorian Finney-Smith over on boards. He had 6 until like the last 30 seconds and somehow finished with 8 rebounds and went over his player prop. Joe says, yo, CJ, what's up, my guy? Just popping in during my lunch break. Well, that's why I do these at this time, so hopefully people can pop in during their lunch break. We're up to 67 viewers. Thank you guys for viewing. If you haven't liked yet, please do so. We're trying to hit that big 100. Keep it 100. D Holmes says, I won $70 but missed out on a $500 ticket. Oh, that's pain. That's pain. Says OG has been going ham. Yes, he has. Cole Anthony over 4.5 rebounds. I guess we could go at Cole Anthony at 4.5 rebounds. I mean, for a guy who has been on fire lately across the board, 4.5 rebounds might be doable. Now, he's at 5.5 on PrizePicks, meaning they have probably bumped him up versus where you're going to see him on a lot of the sports books out there. So if you're playing somewhere else other than PrizePicks, join me on PrizePicks by using promo code Curry. It's a 100% instant deposit match. You see how I slid that in there? Go to prizepicks.com, promo code Curry, link down in the description below if you don't play on PrizePicks yet. But let's take a look at Cole Anthony and this rebound prop. Now that I've slickly slid in a little plug for PrizePicks, we can go to Cole Anthony. He's at 5.5 out there on PrizePicks, and he's also at 5.5 here on props.cash. So if you're getting him at 4.5 rebounds somewhere, run, don't walk, and probably take the over on that prop. So we'll move the line down from 5.5 to 4.5 and kind of give you an idea. He has been covering this 4.5 rebound prop in 4 out of 5 games. That's an 80% hit rate. Now, when I move it back up to 5, things take on a different appearance, just a 40% hit rate. So depending on where you're getting them, 5.5 I don't love, but 4.5 I do love for the over. Says, what is Cole Anthony's assists looking like? Let's look at them real quick. We got him up already. This is a quick transition. Pull up his little player card here on PrizePicks, give you a bigger view of Cole Anthony's lovely smile. You can see him at 5.5 assists over on PrizePicks, 5.5 here on props.cash. So far, 60% cover rate, 3 out of 5 in terms of hitting this player prop. So Cole Anthony, yeah. He's been covering more often than not. Not a bad way to go. In terms of the matchup, assists allowed, Toronto is allowing the 26th most assists per game to opposing players. So you could go Cole Anthony over assists here at 5.5. He's only missed this one game, and that was against the Miami Heat. Let's get you a projection for that, just to give you a little bit more information on Cole Anthony. And they've got him projected at exactly 5 assists. So could go either way here, 5 to 6, but he hasn't been blowing 5.5 assists away. He's only did that really once, and that was against the Knicks where he had 8. So not a ton of value on that prop from what I'm seeing. What else we got here? Oh, Trevor, I think you put a correction in there on that Cole Anthony rebound prop. So hopefully you saw what I did there. 4.5 rebounds, 5.5 rebounds. If you were getting him at 4.5 rebounds somewhere, that's a no-brainer. Definitely take the over on that, but 5.5 is a little tougher. 4-pick power play hit last night. Good for you, man. I am so glad. Hopefully this video had a hand in that. I hope we were part of the reason why you won. Up to 71 viewers. Thank you, everybody who's jumping into the chat. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to keep hammering this to death, but like this video. We're trying to hit that 100 like goal once again, and share it with a friend. If you know somebody who's into player props or just NBA talk like me, share it with them. Yes, Britt and CJ, goat. All right, appreciate that, Mel. Jeff says Precious, I don't know how to say his last name. I'm gonna just call him Precious. Precious over rebounds. So we got a Miami Heat fan and Jeff in the chat. He's at 8.5 boards is Precious. Let's take a look at this real quick. So he has 3 games in his game log where he has smashed 8.5 boards, going for 15, 12, and 11. Then he's got 2 games where he has fallen quite a bit short by 1 to 2 rebounds. 2 to 3 rebounds, I should say. So let's look at Precious real quick. We'll go to his rebound prop, and we'll dial this up here for my man Jeff, longtime supporter of me, of the community. Loves what we do on Patreon, apparently. So if you want to be like Jeff, just join Patreon, and it really helps me out. I'm not seeing Precious on here. I mean, he's not on props.cash. Let's refresh. Maybe he just wasn't uploaded quite yet. Oh, am I looking at? Oh, he's not part of Miami anymore. What? I'm living in the past, guys. Might be Jeff. I thought that was a. I thought he was still a part of the Miami Heat. My bad. We're getting it together. All right, 8.5 boards. Got it. So he's covered in 3 out of 5 so far. So, pretty good hit rate. As I mentioned, 7 in the first one. Comes back with a huge 15 rebound game, 12, 11, and then drops all the way down to 6 versus Indiana. Against Orlando last season, no previous game logs to look at, but so far, pretty good hit rate. 60% hit rate on this player prop. Is it my favorite prop? No, I think there's props out there that are hitting at a higher rate or that aren't hitting at a higher rate. So, whatever sense that makes, you know what I mean, overs and unders. Against the Orlando defense, though, they ranked 26th, and in terms of rebounds allowed, 28th. So they are giving up a lot of rebounds, despite having the Twin Towers in there, Mo Bamba and Wendell Carter Jr. They are giving up a ton of rebounds to start the season off. One of the worst teams, in fact, in allowing rebounds to the opposing team. So that could be a way to go here on Mr. Precious. Let's go ahead and take a look and see where he's projected. And they've got him projected for 8.2 boards. So they got him slightly under 8.5. So I don't know how that makes you feel, but this is probably one that I'm going to avoid. And I think that there's stronger plays elsewhere. Dave says, just got here and hit the like. I might need to rewind this later. Which ones are you locking for tonight? Quick review. Can can you guys help out Dave a little bit? My memory's not so good. I'm getting older, guys. But we talked about some Kyle Lowry unders, under on his points, under on his 3-point makes. I think we talked Harrison Barnes going over the 17.5 point prop for him. Over on the OG Anunoby, 18.5 point prop. That one was looking super solid. Brandon Ingram at 6 rebounds. We wish he was at 5 boards, but we're okay with 6 rebounds because he hasn't had a game where he's went under 6 rebounds this season. So those are some ones that I can just remember off the top of my head. Mo Bamba over 4.5 rebounds. Are you kidding? No, he's not at 4.5 rebounds. Trevor, Mo Bamba's at 9 rebounds. I don't know where you're getting 4.5 rebounds. I wish he was at 4.5 rebounds. I'd snag that up quick. Chris says, late to the party. Had Pirtle over points and paid off. Yes, that was a great prop. Wendell Carter Jr., 5.5 over rebounds. I don't know where you guys are seeing these 4.5 and 5.5 rebound props at. Am I missing something? Let me know. If you guys know where there's some 4.5 and 5.5 rebound props, holler at your boy, but I'm only seeing 9 and 9 for these guys. You're welcome on the Lowry points under the other night. Yes, Jeff, you called that one out. I got to give you credit for that. You know your heat. You know your heat well. Travis says, hey, yo, bad guy. The bad guy. Travis is in the chat. What's up, Travis? Holmes over 8.5 boards. Yes, we like that one. Adebayo over 9.5. Did we talk Bam Adebayo rebounds? I don't know that we talked about it, but if we didn't, that could be a good way to go. I don't see Bam up right now. Maybe you're just putting that one out there. Where am I missing him? I don't see Bam. Anyway. Yeah. What else we got here, chat? 76 viewers. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate all the support. Wendell Carter Jr. over 9 boards. Okay, let's look at that because somebody was saying that there was like a 4.5 rebound prop for Mo Bamba, a 4.5 rebound prop on Wendell Carter Jr. and I wasn't seeing that. But we can talk Wendell Carter at 9 rebounds because just a quick glimpse at the game logs here, 9 to 10 to 11 rebounds look like they have been hitting here for Wendell Carter Jr. So we got Carter Jr. pulled up. He's at 9.5 boards according to props.cash, meaning most of the sports books are going to have him at 9.5. And you can see why PrizePicks has bumped him down. Currently, the action's coming in on the under, minus 128 to go under 9.5 boards, which is kind of interesting. So let's do apples to apples. We'll move the slider down to 9 boards, and you can see some of that red goes away when I move that to the left, and it turns to gray. Now, gray means that he pushed. So based on today's prop of 9 boards on PrizePicks, he's got 2 games in there where he's pushed against New York and against Miami. But he's also got 2 games where he went over and 1 game where he went under. So 2 overs, 1 under, and 2 pushes. So if I were to lean any which way, just based on these game logs, it would be toward the over. Knowing that there's a chance here that this could potentially push, but a slim chance that he goes under. Now, looking at Toronto in terms of their rebounds allowed, they rank just 23rd. Not a very good team at rebounding the basketball. They're giving up a lot of rebounds to opposing players and opposing teams. Offensive boards are at 22. Defensive boards are at 25. And their center defense, not very good defensively, 29th, and their points in the paint defense 22nd. So Wendell Carter Jr. could be a good way to go. You could also go maybe Mo Bamba here. Both of them kind of interchangeable at that power forward center position for the Orlando Magic. Rebounds could be a good look. Potentially going points on some of these guys like Mo and Wendell Carter Jr. I know Mo we talked about briefly, kind of hit or miss so far this season with his points prop, but the matchup in terms of defense versus position is looking pretty good. So let's look at Wendell Carter Jr. You can see he's projected for about 11.7 points, and his boards are actually over 9 at 9.4, but 9.4 closer to 9 than it is 10. So if it pushes, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. There you have it for Wendell Carter Jr. rebounds. What else we got here? Taylor says undergang. Yes, that has been something that, as far as trends go, I've noticed a lot of. Is that a lot of like the fantasy point props and some of the single stat props. If you've been taking the unders, you've been making some money. Up to 75 viewers. Thank you guys so much for dropping in. I appreciate you guys liking, subscribing if you haven't yet. as we continue to spread the good word about player props and player prop research, thanks to props.cash and PrizePicks. OG Anunoby threes over looks like a lock. Well, we're certainly liking OG over his points prop at 18.5. So you got to imagine that if we're liking his over on the points prop, he's going to probably splash a couple of three balls in there. In his last 3 games, he's got 5, 4, and 4. So things are looking good. We already talked about the matchup. No need to go back and revisit that too hard, but the Orlando Magic not very good defensively. For the same reasons we liked Miles Bridges the other day for the Charlotte Hornets, we're liking OG Anunoby again today. If we look at the 3-point makes, Orlando, they're allowing the 25th most 3-pointers allowed to opposing players. They rank 30th in defending the small forward position, which is where OG Anunoby plays. So yeah, liking the way this is looking. OG attempting a lot of threes too in his last 3 games, 9, 8, and 10, shooting a very high percentage. I don't know that the percentage is sustainable, 56%, 50%, and 40%, but as long as the attempts are there, he's got a good shot of going for at least 3 3-point makes. So yes, OG Anunoby looking like a good rock solid play tonight for some overs. Says Damian Lillard has been off since the Olympics. That is for sure. Alan, why can't you play PrizePicks in Tennessee? That is a good question. I've got family, a lot of family up in Tennessee. My mom, my older sister, and I was trying to get them to sign up. Your boy's got the deposit, the promo code going, but I cannot unfortunately get them to join. It is not legal in Tennessee, as Dave points out. Yep. I wish my family could play up there. That would be awesome. Maybe you could drive across the state line and it's legal in one of the neighboring states, or if you go out of town or travel or something, you can lock in some entries that way. Lackey says the 4th pick was John Collins over Boards from you, Curry. Appreciate it. Hey, that's what we do. We try to identify good, solid plays here. Trends. Things that are looking good, like John Collins over Rebounds. I appreciate that shout out, and I'm glad that this research helped you get there. Yeah, Timeout Sports Podcast, you might be right. They might just be looking at the first half player props on those 4.5 rebounds. But I'm not. I mean, yeah. Single stat, 6.5. Okay, so maybe, but I don't even see rebounds up on PrizePicks for first half only, just points. I'm not sure where those 4.5 rebound props were coming up for Mo Bamba and for Wendell Carter Jr. I wish I could get him at that, though. Brandon Ingram over 2 threes. Ken says he likes the over on Brandon Ingram over 2 threes. Let's look at it. Brandon Ingram's been scoring well. The other night, I think I had him going over points. Didn't get there for me. Had I taken the over on his 3-point makes, I think I would have been good, because I think he was at 2.5 3-point makes. But nonetheless, that was the pass. It's a new day, new opportunities for new money. So let's look at BI and his 3-point field goals. So we're going to move his line. He's currently at 1.5. Let's bump it up to 2. Boom. And so far, he's got a 75% hit rate. Technically, it's a little higher if you consider the fact that he has hit 2 or more in 4 out of 5 games. It's a higher hit rate than what you may see here. But yes, nonetheless, he's averaging 2.6 3-point makes throughout the first 5 games of the season. So things are looking good there. Against Sacramento last year in 3 matchups, he made 3, 1, and 3, an average of 2.3 3-point field goals made. And that was good for a 67 hit rate. So yeah, we like that 67% hit rate. So yeah, I would be leaning toward the over based on what I'm seeing here on Brandon Ingram so far. Let's look at the Sacramento defense and how things stack up against Brandon Ingram and this 3-point prop. Sacramento overall, not a good team. They rank dead last in overall defensive rating. In terms of 3-pointers allowed, 13th. So not a tough matchup whatsoever. Kind of a middle-of-the-road, soft matchup. We're not really fading Brandon Ingram here against the Sacramento Kings by any means. And then they rank 12th in terms of small forward defense. BI getting plenty of minutes, 36, 34, 40, 36, 38. Good for an average of about 37 minutes per game. Seeing plenty of run for the New Orleans Pelicans. And then his 3-point field goal attempts, they're not like crazy high like a Ant Edwards or a CJ McCollum or somebody like that. They stay below 10 typically. He's usually around this 5 range on average. So kind of get an idea how many threes he's taking per game. But yeah, if it was me, I'd be leaning toward the over on Brandon Ingram against a soft Sacramento defense. So that would be the way that I would be going. Brett, what is up? Thank you for joining the chat. Thank you for dropping in the Zubac over 9.5 points versus Portland prop. Let's take a look at it. Let's go find Ivica Zubac for the Los Angeles Clippers. Of course, they're taking on Portland tonight. He's at 9.5 points, and we'll dig into that and see how it goes. Zubac. Go to his points. I have no idea how this guy's been doing, by the way. So we're looking at it, putting fresh eyes on it together here in real time, which is what I love about these streams. So you make a good point here. I could see why you would want to go over on his points. So far this season, 3 out of 4 in terms of covering 9.5 points. That is a 75% hit rate. Once this last game log falls off, then we'll have like a good 5-game game log that we can look at. But so far, minus 122, the action is coming in on the over at 9.5 points. So that's got to make you feel pretty good. People are putting their hard-earned money on the over on this prop. Looking at 4 games against Portland, his last 4, he's covered in 3 out of 4, 75% hit rate there. So 75% hit rate this season, 75% hit rate in his last 4 games against the Portland Trail Blazers. So very high hit rate here. I think you're onto something with this prop. Portland's defense overall not good. Other than the Kings, they are the worst team in the league in overall defense. 23rd in points allowed. Center defense, not too crazy. They're just 12th against centers. And then points in the paint defense, 20th in the league. So soft there. So things are looking good here, I think, for Zubac and going over. Moving down in terms of his minutes, 17, 19, kind of low. You hate to see that. But in his last 2 games, floating right around 25 minutes. So minutes are going up. Maybe he's finally starting to get his legs under him. Conditioning starting to get better. He doesn't attempt a lot of shots, but because he plays so close to the rim, his field goal percentages are typically pretty high, 57, 43, 83, and 67. So he's going to have an efficient game. He's going to have to make the most of his opportunities. And this dude can, I guess, get to the free throw line when he's playing under the rim and getting fouled, typically probably off of like offensive rebound opportunities. So you can kind of see, don't want to hang your hat on his free throw attempts and free throw makes at all, but I can see this working out here for Zubac, given the matchup and everything. So let's look up his projection. He is at 10.4 points. So there you go. I think all signs point to you should be leaning over on this player prop. Thank you for dropping that one, Brett. Appreciate you hanging that gem out there for us to check out. Jusuf Nurkic over 10.5 boards. Why do you think tonight's going to be tough with these picks? Why do you think tonight's going to be tough with these picks? I actually feel better today than I did yesterday with these picks. Believe it or not, I think we've identified some very strong ways to go here on a lot of these plays here on PrizePicks. Nurkic is a guy who has been rebounding the basketball very well. He fell short in his last game against Memphis, but let's go ahead and look at Big Nurk. LA versus Portland. We've talked about a lot of props from this particular game. We're going back to it at 10.5 boards for Nurkic. So his first couple of games here, 14, 12, covers no problem. Falls short with 10 and then 8. So he's got a 50% hit rate. It's kind of been one of those hit or miss type of things. Started off really strong against teams that typically play at a faster pace like Sacramento, Phoenix, and then kind of drifted off here against the Clippers and the Memphis Grizzlies. So not a high hit rate on this particular prop. And if you look at last season and this season in the 2 previous matchups against the Los Angeles Clippers, 0% hit rate. Has not covered this prop in 2 previous matchups. So I don't know. I don't feel good about it. I think there's too much conflicting information. As you can see, the matchup for Nurkic, not a good one against the Clippers. They have a very, very tough team overall defensively, against rebounds, against centers, against points in the paint. They're difficult. So I don't love it. And I would be surprised if they have him projected to go over rebounds here. Let's look at it though. Oh my God, it's a surprise. They do have him going over 10.8 rebounds. I don't know. I don't trust it. I'm not going there particularly. I think we've identified some better plays than this one. Rashawn Holmes over boards. Yeah, we talked about Rashawn Holmes. Loving those overs on Rashawn Holmes and those 8.5 rebounds. I'd rather play Rashawn Holmes over 8.5 rebounds than I would Nurkic over 10.5 rebounds. Not saying that Nurkic can't get it done. He can get it done. I just don't know that, that's the best play. There's a better play out there. Looks like Bam's assist prop is no longer on the board. Kendall, okay, thanks for dropping that. They move stuff all the time, so you see something on PrizePicks that you really love, you got to go ahead and lock it in. What else we got here, chat? I'm about to wrap this thing up. We have went over the 1 hour mark here, so I'm gonna take the last few that I see here. We've got Carter, Ken, Jeff, and Chris, and then we'll let you guys get out of here and go lock in some of these entries before PrizePicks starts moving stuff on us. Carter says Paul George under on points. Maybe. I saw some information that Kawhi Leonard apparently was a game time decision. Then someone said, nah, that's not true. He's not even close to coming back. But yeah, Paul George under on points. Do I ever feel good about going under on Paul George? I don't. And I probably don't feel good about it tonight either. If you look back across his game log here, 12, 16, 41, and 29. Obviously, they're playing Portland again tonight. He drops just 16 on Portland in that matchup from a couple of days ago. I don't think that he has another bad game like that, but maybe he's in a little bit of a slump. But this could be a perfect situation for a slump breaker for Paul George going against the Portland Trailblazers. Let's look at the matchups real quick for PG and see if he's going to be rated R tonight or just rated G. Maybe he's not even going to be rated PG. He's going to be rated G. Let's go to points. And you can see that, as I mentioned, hit in the first 2 games, did not hit in the next 2 games. Let's go back to last season and see how he's done against Portland. Same situation, right? In his last 4 games, 50% cover rate, 2 hits, 2 misses. So you got to kind of get an idea. He has kind of struggled against Portland. I don't know why, because Portland ranks 27th this season in terms of defense against opposing small forwards, and their overall defensive rating, we've already talked about, they rank 29th. They're not a very good defensive team. Let's pull up a points prop here, projection for Paul George. Paul George, 26.4 points, slightly under 27.5. But yeah, this is probably one that I'm just leaving alone. I don't want to take the under on him and him just go completely ham on a really bad Portland Trailblazer defense. Let's see what else we got here. We'll wrap it up with the last few that trickled into the chat. Jonas Valanciunas rebounds. Oh, wait, we talked CJ over threes. Yeah, we already mentioned CJ over threes earlier, Ken. We like that one. CJ has been covering his 3-point prop quite a bit. I think they had him at 3 3-point makes, was it? Yep. He has been at 3.5, so I would definitely lean toward the over on that. In worst case, it pushes. Jonas Valanciunas rebounds over 14.5. I picked him over against Atlanta the other night, and he hit. So Jeff's saying he likes Joe Val over rebounds. Is Joe Val up on the board? He is. He's at 14.5. New Orleans Pelicans, big man. Whew, he's got some crazy numbers in his game log. 14.5 boards is a lofty total for anybody to pull down. 15 or more boards is going to be difficult. He's gone for 15 or more in 3 straight games, though. So definitely doable. As you can see, he can get it done. But this number, this 14.5 for me, is probably getting a little bit in that uncomfortable zone. He's projected for 13.9, rounded up, call it 14, and he falls just short of his 14.5 point rebound prop, rather. We could look at the matchup here for Valanciunas versus the team he's playing tonight, which is the Sacramento Kings. I'm falling apart here, guys. Total rebounds. Let's go down and look at the matchups. So Sacramento's defense, talked about it earlier, 30th ranked. In terms of rebounds allowed, they are 20th ranked. So they do give up a lot of boards to opposing teams. 28th on offensive boards, 19th on defensive boards. And then at the center position, they rank just 27th defending the opposing center position. So there you go. A little bit more insight on Jonas Valanciunas. Again, could it work out in your favor if you take the over? It could. But 14.5 boards, you're asking for 15 rebounds from this guy. He's gotten it done in 3 straight games. He could do it. but I still think that there's better plays on the board with better value. My only Heat propaganda of the day, Jeff says, is Tyler Herro over fantasy points. Well, we don't really talk too much about fantasy points on this particular stream. We try to stick to player props so that no matter where you're playing, this content brings you value. But Tyler Herro's at 29 fantasy points. Let's just dig into his game logs real quick. 44, 39, 39, 29.5, and 23.6. So yeah, in the 5 game logs that we have so far, he is covered in 4 out of 5. So that could be a good way to go. Let's pull up a fantasy point projection here for Tyler. Tyler, the creator. I'm Curry, the creator. 29.8 fantasy points, almost 30 fantasy points. So not much of an edge on the projections versus Number Fire. You could go there and lean toward the over. Lackey says, I appreciate you, Curry. Keep up the great content. I dropped a like. Have a great day, brother. You too. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in every day. I appreciate you. Ken loves the stream. Thanks for the info as always, Ken. You're very welcome. If you like this, then definitely drop a like on it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And if you want to support what I'm doing, I got a Patreon set up. There's a link down in the description below. Also, Super Chat's available. You could always leave a Super Chat in here if I'm bringing you any value and you want to give me a little monetary thank you, you can do that. Or you could go over to Twitter at Curry the Creator. I've got a tip jar open there where you could drop a couple bucks in there if I'm helping you out in any way. Ruru says, I like Joe Val's points over instead. Okay, that could be a respectable way to go. And then finally said, last comment of the day, only Dennis Rodman and Ben Wallace. He'll think about that. So, yeah. Mel says, you skipped over us. What do you mean I skipped over you? Skipped over who? Bam questionable tonight. Could we get another under for assists? Maybe. I'm not sure. Mel, you're in my Discord. I'll talk to you in there. Let me know what you're talking about, and we'll get to you in the Discord chat. I'll do that for you as a thank you for being a longtime member. Zebo, thanks for the info, guys. Spend hours every day doing things myself. I just found you today. Zebo, I'm glad that you found me. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Make sure notifications are turned on so you don't miss any future streams. Guys, I'm getting out of here. Brett, thanks for hanging out. Chris, thank you. Love you guys. I love all the support and everything that you guys are doing. And I hope to keep doing this for you every day around 11 a.m. Eastern time. So have a happy weekend. Good weekend. Good luck to everybody out there. If you're playing on PrizePicks NBA tonight, we'll catch you in the next one. Maybe I'll be on tomorrow for some NFL or some NBA. Maybe I'll do both. I don't know. We'll let you know. I'll schedule that stream if it does happen. Appreciate you guys so much. Peace out. Good luck.